Good evening. It is Wednesday, August 2nd, 2023, and coming to you from Studio 1A at Lonely Tree Media headquarters in Yakima, Washington. This is the Best Lamm Sports Show. I get caught up in the music. I like this song.
I don't like it better than the old one.
You don't?
No. This from a guitar playing standpoint, which we briefly covered a second ago. I expect the song to do certain things because that's rhythmically appealing, and that song does not do them. It goes kind of in an opposite direction at weird times, and I'm like, why are you doing that? Just go back.
That's our show in a nutshell. It goes in weird directions at weird times.
This is true.
So,
yeah.
I'm your host, David Lamm. With me is my son, Parker. Say hello, Parker.
Hello, Parker.
Whoa, what happened?
I went to Boston.
I mean, crowd's a little distant. I think it's the new studio setup. They're further away.
They're farther away.
Yeah,
from
there's more space.
For safety reasons.
We had an incident. So there was enough said. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook under the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can send us an email, lambsports@gmail.com, and please check out our webpage, which is just lambsports.com. You can find links to the past shows, the current trivia question on there. Most of the time, I update it usually by Friday. So
we do this, that looseness.
We do this on Wednesday, and then usually Thursday I double check to make sure the recording is good, and then I usually just don't want to take the time to post it on what Thursday, so I do it on Friday. So by Friday the updated one's on there, but you can always go to our webpage, or not our webpage, but our YouTube page. Just type in the Best Lamm Sports Show. You can find them all on there.
You know what that reminds me of is like Nike will launch a shoe and it'll sell out right away, and then a couple days later, you'll hop on their website and there it is in a full size run. And you're like, I thought it sold out.
Right.
It's like, well, we just wanted to get the hype going for day one.
I mean, that's what I'm trying
to do. But
do.
If you can't make it, we do still want you to come listen.
Yeah. But I'm trying to get the hype out there. That's what I'm doing.
Please please listen to our live show, watch our live show. But then also, if you don't, just at least go listen.
At least just go listen to something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's see. What are we going to talk about? Formula One was in Spa. And it rained. We're going to talk about that. The NBA issues a memo in light of the Damian Lillard trade situation, and we'll talk about that situation here in a minute. The U.S. women's team is through to the knockout stage of the Women's World Cup. If you're a soccer fan, woohoo. Except, we'll talk about that. How bad was Nathaniel Hackett's job done in Denver? How bad a job did he do? Sean Payton has an opinion. Aaron Rodgers has not a differing opinion, but an opinion. I don't know. We're talking about all that and the whole Sean Payton, Nathaniel Hackett, Aaron Rodgers saga, which is just building to a Week 5. They're going to switch it to Monday Night Football, right?
Probably, I think.
I don't know.
Maybe.
You would. I would. At this point, I'd say whoever was scheduled for that, see ya. We're putting this on because you could not ask for more. Build up. Not that it's huge, but it's got the potential to be huge. Anyway, people get hurt about things that get said. We're going to talk about, let's do the trivia question first. Because I always want to do it at the beginning of the show, just so we have more time. And, I hate telling you the trivia question and then we talk about one topic and then I got to give you the answer. So I want to give you the whole time for it to stew. It's got to marinate, so we always do it at the beginning. You ready? The Stave and Stone trivia question is, what's the record for attendance at an NCAA football game? And you don't have to know the number necessarily. If you could tell me when it happened.
Now, hold on.
I'd be okay with that.
Can I hit you with a qualifier? Does it have to be in a NCAA football stadium?
What did I say? What's the record for attendance at an NCAA football game?
Okay, so it doesn't have to be in an NCAA football stadium, which means the Bristol Motor Speedway game that has like 160,000 people's up there. So,
really?
Oh, is that the answer?
Man, you're going to ruin the trivia question. Just ruin the trivia question right off the bat. Why do you hold those answers to yourself?
You
I knew you would know, but oh my gosh.
I love. Well, you're lucky that I thought to qualify it. Otherwise, I would have been thinking just in stadiums the whole time. I'd have been like, well, that's like one of like 5 places. Well, we won't tell the answer for when.
We'll talk about it at the end of the show.
We'll talk about this later.
How that happened.
Quick,
if you're unfamiliar, yeah, quick, just let's change the scene. Yeah, quick, let's go to the NBA. So the NBA, let me find it too, what it says, because it was brilliant. So the NBA sent out a memo to all 30 teams on Friday stating that any player or his agent who makes public or private comments indicating he won't fully perform the services called for under his player contract in the event of a trade will be subject to discipline. And all this is because Damian Lillard's agent,
possibly Damian Lillard himself,
and possibly, yeah, we don't want to have that confirmed, but for sure his agent, Aaron Goodwin, right, said basically he doesn't want to go anywhere but Miami, and he won't play anywhere but Miami.
He didn't say he won't play anywhere, but he said that, like, teams beware. He wants to be in Miami.
Right.
He kind of gave like a blanketed thread.
Right. He stated in multiple media outlets that his client wanted to play only for the Heat. I mean, I guess that's kind of how you say it.
Yes, that's exactly. Hey, that's diplomatically the way to say it.
And he didn't actually deny that what we're saying is true.
Right.
What he's implying is, if you trade him to Philadelphia, he may not go there. He may not like that. He may not play for them. He may not whatever. And I'm like, so that's kind of manipulating the trade market, which is illegal, I think, under the CBA. So there's that. But anyway, it's going to take a while for them to get Damian Lillard out of Portland. I don't see this happening before they start playing.
Yeah.
I think they're going to start playing NBA games, and he's going to be a Blazer. And the question is he going to have mysterious injuries that keep him from playing for Portland when the season starts? So what is your take? Do you think they can get him traded before the season starts? And we're only talking about, 3 months?
3 months. I think they'll get him traded. Like, these things, when you look at the reports that are out there right now, you can look at 3 days ago, there's a report from an NBA trade Twitter site that says there's no discussion between Portland and Miami right now.
Right.
And then you look at another one from 2 days ago, and it says, the Blazers have turned down packages offered from the Heat. And it's like, well, then there was discussion. And you just don't know what you're getting out there. The Blazers and the Heat are talking.
Yeah.
He wants to go there, and the Blazers probably want at least one or multiple of the pieces that the Heat have.
Right.
It's whether or not, but the problem is everyone's scoping this as the Blazers being unreasonable.
No, the Blazers.
That's the way it looks. They're like, well, the Heat are trying to work with them. It's like, are they though? Because they don't want to, they don't want to absolutely shell out their team.
Yeah.
Just to get Damian Lillard, they need to have pieces because they want to win titles.
Both sides want to protect what things, and the Blazers aren't just gonna. Oh, you want him? Oh, you can have him. That's not how it works.
He's a top 5 guard in the league in terms of efficiency and points per game and things like that. We are not giving him up for nothing.
No.
We need a sizable return on investment, at least equal to the amount of points or the amount of status that he produces, or potential status. So yeah, you're gonna have to give us Jaime. Yeah, you're gonna have to give us a couple first, and you might even need to get a third team involved in this so we can get something from them too. But we're not going to give you Damian Lillard for Caleb Martin in a first.
Damian Lillard was 3rd in the league in scoring this last year. 32.2
and that was while sitting out a bunch of games with injury. Well, I don't know how many he sat out, but he sat out quite a few.
He only played 58 games.
Well, there you go. He sat out like a fourth of the season.
Yeah, and he's only 0.9 of a point behind the lead scoring leader. That's Joel Embiid, who shoots his shots from a foot away.
Joel Embiid's actually a pretty decent
I know, but he's also...
I'll give him. I do not like Joel Embiid, but I'll give him credit for that. He can shoot the three better than most centers I've ever seen. So
yeah, Lillard's shot almost 92% from the free throw line. He's an automatic free throw shooter. His 3-point percentage was 37% last year.
Yeah. And he seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
At least appearance-wise, he's very interested in community. He's very interested in giving back and things like that. And he doesn't get in trouble off the court. And he does this on the court. What more could you want? Most of these guys come with baggage. You want another all-time scorer right now? Well, what about Ja Morant?
Yeah,
He's
his
got all sorts of off-court baggage. What about Chris Paul? He's got all sorts of baggage with him. He's always fighting somebody. What about James Harden? He can't stay on a team. Get yourself a guy that's loyal, who can score points, who's good on and off the court, and
right.
give us what we deserve in return. Miami.
Talking to you, Miami.
Talking Miami. Hey, suppose looking at you.
Pay attention. Yeah. It's gonna
Actually,
be.
that wouldn't be Spoelstra. That would be what's his name?
It's gonna take some time, but
Who's the GM of the Heat?
um,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh, he's a legend.
I thought it used to be Pat Riley.
Pat Riley. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah. There you go. So also Damian Lillard was 13th in the NBA in assists per game, 7.3. So there's that. Also averages almost 5 rebounds a game. So he's not nothing. His field goal percentage overall, kind of suspect. I mean, he's not a great overall shooter in terms of 2-point range. But if you need a bomb to stoke the crowd at some point in time, that's your, they don't call him logo for nothing.
Logo Lillard, nothing.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. So, anyway, there's that. We'll see what happens, but it was interesting. Lillard informed the Trailblazers on July 1st that he would like to be traded after the team used the 3rd pick in June's NBA draft on Scoot Henderson. Speaking to reporters during the Las Vegas Summer League earlier, Blazers general manager Joe Cronin said it could take months to complete a Lillard trade, which it probably will.
Yeah.
So, and we're already working on 2 months. So,
You know something crazy? Damian Lillard is not. And hold on, double checking my figures real quick.
Yeah, numbers.
But Damian Lillard is not in the top 50 point scorers of all time.
Sounds right.
Wait, hold on. What website am I on? This is crazy.
All-time scorers.
Yeah, it says all-time leaders, but it's actually not done by one category.
Is it doing it by points per game or is it doing by total points?
I'm trying to figure that out at the
that's
exact moment.
That's different, right?
Yeah, because I'm thinking in field goal percentage, like where does he stand compared to other people? And you got guys on this list with Steph Curry is a 45.3% shooter. Like he's not the greatest. James Harden is a 42.4 and Scottie Pippen was a 44.4. These are prolific scorers, but their numbers are okay.
Right.
But anywho, yeah, but according to that list, he's not in the top 50.
Yeah, I don't see him on the top 50 either.
That's kind of bonkers.
And that's in terms of this is based on the NBA.com and this is points, total points.
The NBA.com.
Now, if you do it in points per game, and I wonder if that's on here. No.
If it would change at points per game.
Yeah, it would change for points per game because he hasn't played in as many games as a lot of these guys.
So right here, he says he's 63rd all-time scorer, 19,376, right behind Jamal Crawford and Jamal Crawford. Crawford. I say it that way.
Well, I
right
don't know.
up in front of Bob Lanier.
Bob Lanier.
Yeah. So he's got a lot of the people ahead of him are directly ahead of him are retired, so he'll catch up quite a ways. But yeah, like a great example is I saw.
Oh, hold on, I got the points per game. Hold on.
Oh, Jason Tatum's in the top 50, but Damian Lillard is not, and I'm like, what?
Points per game. Also, not in the top 50. Now that can't. I mean, it's got to be because no, he is. Never mind. He's 12th all-time points per game.
Oh, see, that's good.
At 25.2, which seems like not that much, but let's be honest. Damian Lillard has played in 769 basketball games, right?
That's a lot of
the person directly ahead of him, Oscar Robertson, has played in 1,040, which is why he has a lot more points than Damian Lillard.
Jeez,
LeBron James has played in 1,400 basketball games. Yeah. So
bottom line, Miami, give us a good player.
Yeah. Yeah, see, Joel Embiid is 5th in all-time in points per game at 27.2, but he's only played in 394 basketball games.
Yeah.
So there are guys on that list. It changes dramatically when you change it to per game. Anyway, there's that. So not that that's anything, but it's something.
It's not nothing.
It's not nothing, but it's not a whole bunch of whatever. Anyway, so let's change this. Let's change the story.
All right.
Women's World Cup. So why did it start with this picture? I don't even understand what happens. I put these in a certain order. It is, but it's not. That's the picture I wanted to start with. And the reason this picture is important is because the U.S. women's national team into the knockout stage of the World Cup barely after tying the Netherlands and beating Vietnam. The U.S. needed a tie or a win against Portugal to advance, and they got a 0-0 tie. But as you saw in that picture, that was in the 92nd or 3rd minute, and Portugal had a breakaway, and the shot bounced straight off the pole, off the upright. It came straight back. It was about 3 or 4 inches from being a goal, and it was so close. And that would have knocked the United States out. And so, to put this in perspective, the United States has never been knocked out of the group stage, and the United States has never not won 2 games at least in the group stage. This year they did. They only won 1 game and tied 2. So they are not dominating by any stretch of the imagination. And the team that, Vietnam, who the United States beat 2-0 in the first game, the Netherlands beat them 7-0. So they're not playing great offense. They've scored a total of 3 goals in 3 games. So something needs to change. Knockout stage is coming. It's going to be interesting. It's not quite all set yet. I think tonight is the last groups, and they'll have all the spots set. And we'll let you know next week.
Well, the U.S. women's national team is currently set to play Sweden on Sunday.
That would make sense because they were leading their group.
At 3 a.m.
Yeah, because you can't watch any of this. You have to record it unless you're an insomniac.
We can make it happen. You can watch some soccer. Go America.
I
get up at 5 to watch some races, so
it's different. I gotta get 5 is different than 3. Come on.
Well, 3 means you don't go to bed yet.
3 means you stayed up to watch it. 5 means I got up early to watch it.
I got up early to watch it. Very different energy involved in those 2 moves.
The 3 o'clock game, I fall asleep halfway through because I stayed up to watch it. The 5 o'clock game, I fall asleep halfway through because I'm tired because I woke up too early.
I can't tell you how many Formula One races I've been sitting there, just kind of like falling asleep.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, I'm like, my eyes are open. It's like lap 21, and then I feel like I blink, and it's lap 28, and I'm like, whoa,
man, let's be honest, it's the drone. It's the drone of those cars going around that track. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then it's those soothing English voices.
They are like butter.
The call. Yeah, they get on there and they tell you, except for when they get really excited, and they sound really sharp.
Well, it's Ted Kravitz in the pit lane is who it is. Ted Kravitz in the pit lane has got that kind of a voice. Anyway, whatever. So yeah, it's fun to watch. But we're going to, we're going to talk about Formula One. So let's just do that right now, shall we? Formula One was in Spa, and Max Verstappen wins again. He finished 22 seconds ahead of teammate Sergio Perez. Ferrari's Charles Leclerc finished 3rd after having the pole. He was the pole sitter, thanks to Verstappen's 5-place grid penalty for changing the gearbox too many times. It was never. There was a little bit of doubt. No, not really. It was never really no. Oscar Piastri, who finished 2nd in the sprint race, and qualified very highly. I want to say he was 4th or 3rd. Right? And he got knocked out in turn 1. I think he was a little optimistic, went down on the inside. He got scrunched, and then he was done. And he was out.
Comes at you fast.
It does. And that's an F1 for sure, about 100 and something miles an hour. There was rain. There was rain on Saturday during qualifying, or during the sprint race even, right?
Right, yeah.
And it didn't seem to matter. I mean, I thought there was going to be more, the best thing that could have happened would have been a light rain consistently falling during the race. That will cause people to slip and slide. But if it's heavy rain, everyone slows down. Everyone pits for the right tires. You know what I mean? It's weird. And then everybody's the same and nobody really has an issue. But it's that light rain where you can't decide, should I go on inters or should I just keep going with the slicks, right? And then somebody goes, woo, off the track. And yeah.
Then everyone goes and gets the inters.
Yeah. I like Spa. I like the track.
I like the track. I just wish it wasn't rainy.
Yeah, well, I mean, it wasn't as rainy this time.
Rain makes it exciting from a pure viewership standpoint,
sure.
But it makes the race more convoluted, like for the driver. So your driver that you might like, that you think you're like, oh, they're gonna have a great day today, they don't because of rain, and it's like,
right.
Dang it, that sucks. So it can take really good people, make them really bad, and it can take really bad people and make them put them in good positions to win.
So it was Verstappen's 8th straight win, and he's now one away from the record for consecutive wins by a driver. Red Bull has won its first 13 races of the season and doesn't really look like anybody's going to beat them. I mean, unless. Go ahead.
If you hit somebody, like, so let's say Lewis is feeling spicy about losing that record.
Spicy.
And he decides to put a little wheel into Verstappen.
He doesn't have the record though. That's the problem for consecutive wins. It's Vettel. Sebastian Vettel has 9.
Well, let's say Sebastian calls Lewis and says, "Hey, I'm feeling a little spicy.
don't lose my record for me. Man.
Don't lose my if you lose my record, we're done."
Yeah.
If Max Verstappen has a do not finish because of an accident that was deemed somebody else's fault, does he still get a chance to keep a streak?
No. If you start the race, yeah, it's over. I mean,
if the stewards come in and say, "Yeah, Lewis clearly crashed into Max, and that's why he can't finish," they're not going to give him a chance.
It's a DNF. You just don't.
That kind of sucks.
I agree. It's just
a
bad.
Technicality.
It is what it is. I mean, if you wanted to be spiteful, you could definitely take him out. But I don't know. Weird.
Well, that's right. We looked this up the other day. Lewis has like 4 of the top 10 streaks.
Right.
But he's not in the top 3.
5 is the most he has.
5 is the most he has, but he's done 5 twice.
Yeah, and like 4 a bunch of times. Yeah. He's won a lot of races, just doesn't have that big a streak.
He's never pieced it all together for that long, which is what makes this more incredible.
The only 2 other guys who have 8 or more are Alberto Ascari and Sebastian Vettel. So Ascari had 8 and Vettel had 9.
Legends.
Yeah, I mean, right? So Ascari's got a turn named after him at Monza. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, so yeah, so Verstappen. Let's talk about Red Bull. Red Bull has a 256 point lead over Mercedes at this point in the season.
Is Mercedes in second?
Yeah. And a 307 point lead over Aston Martin. Mercedes has been putting both guys in the points kind of regularly. Aston Martin, Lance Stroll's been a weight around the neck, and Fernando Alonso hasn't been as good as he was earlier this year. But yeah, they're still in third, 307 points behind. Verstappen has a 125 point lead over Perez, and 165 over Fernando Alonso, 166 over Lewis Hamilton. That is over 6 complete races.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's only 11 or 12 in the second half season.
This was done in week 4.
Oh yeah, for sure.
This has been done for a while. This has been done since last year.
Well, kind of. And then there's been the the other thing that we're not talking about yet today, but everyone's kind of accusing Red Bull of sandbagging, not going as fast as they could, because they don't want to get investigated. And so there's that out there too. People are claiming that this car could go a lot faster, and it's not, on purpose.
So that way people don't look at them?
Right. So people aren't investigating why they're a minute faster than everyone else.
Well, so the question is, has this happened a lot in Formula One? Because there was a period of time when Lewis was dominating races. There was a period of time when Schumacher was dominating races. But I mean, I don't know enough about their times.
Yeah, not.
But as the way I'm hearing it, this is a first kind of unusual.
And it's not just about the times. It's about it's about being on the pole. How many times? It's about doesn't matter where he's at. If as soon as the DRS gets turned on, he's 12 kilometers an hour faster than everyone else.
And even when it's not turned on,
that's true.
He's still outpacing people.
Right.
There are people behind, but I mean they're all going through traffic.
Right. So so what they're claiming is he gets out in front and he conserves his tires as Red Bull would tell you.
Well, everyone tells you it's tire degradation. Like his tire degradation is incredible.
Right.
So they keep saying. So the question is, what do people think is happening?
They think that car. They think they're cheating, obviously, or they wouldn't have said something. I mean, that's just, you don't say something like that unless you think they've got some sort of gigantic advantage that no one else has. And what is it? Because we would like to know, right? In the transparency issue, right? Shouldn't we all know why you're so much faster than everyone else? Why are you winning all these races? You didn't do it 2 years ago, but you've done it for the last 2 years. So what did you guys do differently? Because everyone has the same quote unquote opportunities, right, to make their cars the same. why are you so much faster over the last 2 years? What is going on? And you weren't even that much faster last year. You were winning a lot of races, but you weren't blowing everyone away. This year, it's not even competitive. So that's kind of weird, right?
It's very interesting because when I start typing in on Google, is R just the letter is R, it goes Red Bull cheating in F1.
It filled it in for you.
It filled it in. There's
Yeah.
1,000 things that could be.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have
But
been.
they're like, no, people definitely want to know about this.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing Red Bull's been known to have done is break a cost cap. That's it.
And probably
there's new cars, there's new regulations that
right.
given that it seems like they have just they figured it out early. That's
right.
it. That's the way I see it. I don't think I would be more curious about if McLaren's cheating than if Red Bull's cheating because Red Bull's doing what they did last year. Ever since this car came out, they've been kind of dominant. So it doesn't not much has changed. McLaren was terrible and then it was all of a sudden really good. That's more suspicious to me than just having been dominant for the entirety of a new style of car.
Right.
So
I mean, I don't know.
But honestly, it would not surprise me if any of these teams were cheating.
No, and they're probably all cheating to an extent. It's just a matter of how is your cheating being effective? Because let's be honest, if Ferrari's cheating, they're not doing very good at it. I mean, you're not catching anybody. You're not doing anything. You're in fourth place in the standings overall as a team. I mean, come on, man.
Sure.
Do something. If you're going to cheat, do it right. I'm not saying. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? That's the thing. So I feel like that happens in every sport. Whatever legitimate gray area that you can get away with, right? Because it's gray and no one, the rules don't specifically say I can't, right? Then they're going to do that to try and get every ounce of speed, every ounce of power out of that car. But clearly Red Bull has managed to do it.
Whatever they're doing is working.
In both cars.
In both cars, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever. I mean, if those cars, and there's the thing, if both cars are the same, then Max Verstappen is 10 times the driver Sergio Perez is.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
But they're not the same, and you know that they're not the same.
Well, there's some of the base some of the base parts are the same, but I was reading the other day about how Lewis Hamilton likes his front wing setup different than George, likes his back wing setup different than George. He likes his tire pitch slightly different than George's and things like that. So to say that they're the same is they're close.
The drivers have some say in those things. I like more downforce. I like more of this.
There's a basic layout though that they don't have any say in.
But the car engine power, it's got to be the same engine with the same engine power. It's got to be laid out the same. The engine
total power, I think. Yeah. Like I know that they said like Lewis likes his mid throttle response to be a little tighter than his low throttle response. So he's okay with it coming on a little slower as long as it's more, it catches and pushes more in the midsection. So that could be a difference right there, like that changes it. But you're not wrong. They're close enough the same.
Right.
To where one driver shouldn't just consistently outclass the other.
And here's the question. Shouldn't Red Bull be sharing some of the technology with AlphaTauri? I mean, they could have all four cars right there, right?
No. It's a farm team.
I know it is, but you could have
the Mets don't have to send the Cubs don't send down a whole bunch of cool stuff to the Smokies.
You don't have to make them, but AlphaTauri, you don't have to make them like competitive with you, but you got to make them so that they're competitive with McLaren or Ferrari. You could make them so that they're the third or fourth best team out there. You could easily do that, right? But we're not doing that apparently. So I'm just saying it's kind of weird. I feel like we have the technology to make your car better, but we're not going to. So suck it and be in last place.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, weird.
If you own two of the teams on the courses, you could just let one be bad. That's one less team to compete against.
But if I had two faster cars, I could actually get them into the mix and slow people down so that Red Bull could win more. Not that they're needed.
But it's all about driving a brand, and the brand is Max Verstappen and Red Bull. You don't want Daniel Ricciardo to all of a sudden be in any way kind of threatening that.
I don't say that he's.
Although if Daniel Ricciardo could, he should be your brand.
Oh yeah, he is an excellent. Let's be honest. If you needed a face, he would be way better than Max Verstappen. Just in general, just in terms of he's a better interview. He's funny. He's likable, personable. He's a better face for your team than Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen comes across as aloof. Let's just say that. I don't know.
I would say that, and this is going to be a short list. The most likable F1 drivers, I think Daniel Ricciardo's at the top.
Sure.
I think without a doubt. I think that probably Lando Norris
Yep. 2.
is in second.
Yeah.
I feel like people really like Sergio Perez.
They do.
I feel like, but I think that's because
He's an underdog.
not just an underdog. It's because he challenges Max Verstappen and
maybe.
pisses him off. So I think that makes people like him a little bit because I don't think he's particularly personable. I don't think he comes off as really genuine or sweet. I think he just kind of is there.
And I think you have a number of drivers then after that you could throw out there. I think that you have the British people that will say, "Oh, we love Lewis and George," right?
But I think Lewis comes across as personable. Yeah.
Yeah. Charles Leclerc, I think, is in that group.
Leclerc gets a lot of love, but I think people are waning on him. Oh, Valtteri Bottas has got to be up there high.
I don't know.
People love Valtteri.
Well, yeah.
He's just not.
He's not relevant anymore. Oh, that's true. Good point.
He's just not relevant. Yeah,
he's not relevant.
Relevant's part of it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Like I think people don't necessarily love Fernando Alonso. I think Pierre Gasly was kind of a little punk for a while. Like he was constantly complaining and ripping people, and so I think that people don't have a great opinion of him. And of course, people aren't a huge fan of Max Verstappen.
No.
Sometimes because he wins, sometimes because he sounds like a brat when he wins.
He does. Sometimes he sounds like a brat while he's winning.
He's up 22 seconds and he's griping at his team for holding them back.
Right.
It's like, dude, stop.
How dare you guys?
How dare you? Don't ever ask me to do that.
Yeah, don't.
That's one of my favorite lines of him. He didn't say don't ever ask me. He said you don't ask me to do that.
Yeah, and he had a moment here in this. I don't know if I can't remember if it was in the sprint race or when it was, but they were talking about tires and hey, it's going to start raining. Do you have enough to make it 2 when it rains? Is what they were asking him, and he's like, "Well, I don't know. I don't have the weather radar." And I'm like, "Oh, don't be an asshole about it. Just answer the. We said 10 minutes. You don't need a weather radar. I told you when it was coming. Do you have the tires to make it that far? Do we need a pit?" It was pretty easy, but he was being a childish butthead because that's what he does sometimes. So he's not all the time, just sometimes. I think when he wins, it's all, hey, we have a great car. My team is great. You know who else sounds like a rock star when he does his interviews is Lewis Hamilton. It
seems scripted.
Lewis Hamilton comes out and says, "Oh, well, the crowd here at Spa is always great." That's the very first thing he says, no matter where he's at, right?
He always gives credit to his team and the place.
Yeah, hello, always. Cleveland. He does that, whatever. And I don't know. It's interesting.
What's your favorite Max Verstappen outburst? You have one?
I can't. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
My favorite one, the one that sticks out the most in my head was like Bahrain last year. And he said, I can't remember what the problem was. I think he was having some sort of wheel issue or it was a steering issue. But he said to his instructor, "No, just effing tell me what's wrong, and I'll try to handle it." Because they were like kind of giving him the runaround on it, and he just yelled at him. I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, it's no different than Kimi Räikkönen, right? Telling you.
Oh yeah.
Telling you, just just let me. What did he say? Just shut up and let me drive, or whatever he said. I can't remember. Anyway.
Yeah. My favorite thing people say, though, is leave it with me.
Yeah. I got this. Just, you know what? Anyway. So Formula One next race is in the Netherlands, which is a home race for Max at Zandvoort. That's August. The qualifying's August 26th on Saturday from 6 to 7, and the race is on the 27th on Sunday at 6 a.m. Pacific time, by the way, in case you're wondering. And not that crappy mountain time that people are on. Weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more Verstappen for you, and then we can move. Hungary 2018.
Mm-hmm.
He was asked to retire, and he said, "Mate, really? Can I not just keep going? I don't care if this effing engine blows up. What an effing joke! All the effing time. This is shit. Honestly." That's a good one.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna have one,
right? If you're gonna have one, let's piss off everyone.
Right.
But also, I can imagine being a driver, like you feel like you're in the car and it's going and being told like you need to stop. And it's like, why?
I'll tell you what I didn't think I would miss. I didn't think I would miss the audio of the interactions between the teams and the race director. I didn't think I would miss that. I
Yeah,
thought,
because it felt like it was tacky almost, like they
right,
were hounding them,
right.
and
But
it
I
felt like
missed
they were
that.
being political.
I'm missing
But
it.
it's because the racing is so boring now.
It's true. I want something. I need something to keep me interested in the race. So it'd be nice to listen to someone crying to the race director saying, "So and so cut me off.
If
That's
the
the third time he's run out of track. I mean, are you guys watching this? You know, that kind
it's
of thing."
yeah, if people were fighting for position 1 and 2 and 3, if it was a constant battle for all three positions, we wouldn't care about that extra
It's
stuff.
true.
But because it's so boring, we need a different form of entertainment. That's why after each week, the most exciting thing we talk about is, oh, who did
Who finished?
Crofty piss off in the lane or in pit row early before the race?
It's Martin Brundle.
Martin Brundle, not
Crofty
Crofty.
just stays in the
Crofty's
booth.
in the booth.
He's
Yeah,
the
sorry, Martin
jovial.
Brundle.
Yeah, Martin Brundle who goes down the lane. Pit lane walks. If you guys don't watch any F1, go to the Grand Prix Sunday. Watch the Grand Prix Sunday, which is not the actual race. It's like the pre stuff. It's like the
pre-race.
Super Bowl pregame. And
Yeah.
Martin Brundle, former Formula One driver, say that 10 times. He walks down pit lane where there's all these stars and people, and he tries to get interviews and talk to people, and it is entertaining to say the least, because there's people that just won't talk. They're like petrified. They won't talk to him. I don't think half the people know who he is, first of all. But I mean, if you got a freaking microphone and on it says F1, right? I feel like someone's gonna, you'd know, right? This guy's, but whatever. Anyway, watch it. Watch the Grand Prix Sunday. If you don't watch anything else, watch the Grand Prix Sunday. It's kind of fun. Qualifying. If you've never watched an F1 race, watch a qualifying race before you watch a race. Watch the qualifying segments. That is exciting to me. I like qualifying. I think it's interesting the way they do it. And then the race itself right now is going to be boring. Max Verstappen's going to win. So just, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
There's that. But anyway, all right. So NFL?
NFL.
Let's talk about the NFL because we can. And it's brief. I don't have much to talk about in terms of NFL, but
I have so much to say on it.
Do you? So
I feel like there's a lot of things that happened.
All right. So let's start with what Sean Payton, the new head coach of the Denver Broncos, said about the coaching job when he was asked about the coaching job of Nathaniel Hackett, right? He said it might have been one of the worst coaching jobs in the history of the NFL. That's how bad it was. This is what he told the USA Today. Everything I heard about last season, we're doing the opposite. I don't know Hackett. A lot of people had dirt on their hands. It wasn't just Russell, referring to Russell Wilson. He didn't just flip. He still has it. This BS that he hit a wall, shoot, they couldn't get a play in. And he's not wrong. They were 29th in the league in pre-snap penalties on both sides of the football. So there was that, right? Now, the question was, did that need to be said? So Nathaniel Hackett said, coming back, obviously this has been a very unique week for this organization. I've been involved in this business my whole life, 43 years as a coach's kid. We live in a glass house. We know that. We all live in different rooms. We all have a key for it, which is kind of weird. It is weird. It's one of those things. There's a code. There's a way things are done in that house. This past week, it's frustrating and it sucks, but we're all susceptible to it. The things you do, the mistakes you make, it costs you time on the field, it costs you your job, all those things. And I own all that stuff. That's a fact. I've got no excuses. So that was the reply by Nathaniel Hackett.
Right.
Saying, oh, man, you crossed the line because you called me out. I might have sucked.
It's kind of a soft.
Right. No, it
approach.
is. But I mean, yeah.
It's not like a hard, like, hey, you should have said that about me.
No, but
it's kind of like, this is not great.
And then Peyton, since then, Sean Payton said, listen, I had one of those moments where I still had my Fox network television hat on and not my coaching hat on. I said this to the team. We had a great offseason relative to that. I've been preaching that message, and here I am, the veteran stepping in it. It was a learning experience for me, a mistake, obviously. I need a little bit more filter. I need a bit more restraint, and I regret that. So, okay, that happened. But in the meantime, Aaron Rodgers decided to throw his proverbial helmet in the ring because Nathaniel Hackett was in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and apparently they're buddies.
Well hold on. Aaron Rodgers' quote was before Hackett's.
Well, Right.
In the timeline, it was
Correct.
Peyton, then Rodgers, then Hackett.
Right. And Rodgers said in a tweet, well, somebody posted in a tweet what he had said, which is he, referring to Hackett, is arguably my favorite coach I've ever had in the NFL. I thought it was way out of line, inappropriate, and I think he needs to keep my coach's name out of his mouth, referring to Sean Payton. And then he said, I don't know. He said some more stuff. He talked about how good Hackett is, family man, integrity, blah, blah. But later the quote was, "It made me feel bad that someone," and referred to Peyton, "who's accomplished a lot in the league is that insecure that they have to take another man down to set themselves up for some sort of easy fall if it doesn't go well for that team this year." I'm not sure that's what he was doing. I think he was just protecting his quarterback, Russell Wilson, right? Saying it's not Russell's fault why they were 4-11 last year. But so there's a lot to unpack here. My personal take, and you can have the floor here in just a minute. My personal take is, while Sean Payton might have quote unquote broke the code or crossed the line, he's not saying anything that isn't necessarily true. And I don't fault him for saying that. I think Aaron Rodgers is trying to say, he's trying to make it sound like, just in case we're crappy, it's because the last coaching staff was crappy, which is not at all what he's saying. What he's saying is the reason Russell Wilson was crappy last year was because they couldn't get a play and he's not wrong. They couldn't get a play call in when they needed to. So there's that. And I feel like all of this could have just been washed away if someone had said, you know what? Aaron Rodgers could have just said, hey, he's full of crap. That's all. Move along. But he pointedly made it sound like he was trying to set himself up in case that team was bad, which I don't think is at all what he's trying to do. So I don't know. What is your take on the whole situation? I know you got one.
I don't think it matters. Not my take, but the comments. I think it's all kind of irrelevant. Aaron Rodgers has always been known for he doesn't shy away from a microphone. So if you ask him a question and he's willing to answer, which sometimes he just doesn't want to talk to the media, right. But if he's willing to answer, he usually gives you something good. The same way that Russ was sticking up for his that Peyton was sticking up for his quarterback, and in the process putting Peyton down. Aaron Rodgers was sticking up for that's not Peyton. Oh my gosh, I'm getting mixed up here. Same way that Peyton stuck up for Russ and it put Hackett down. Aaron Rodgers was sticking up for Hackett and putting Peyton down. It's the same. It's kind of tit for tat. It's you're asking like, well, let these people speak for themselves. Well, let Russ speak for himself. Why is Peyton defending him? Oh, because he was asked a direct question about it. We'll let Hackett speak for himself. Why is Aaron Rodgers defending him? Well, because he was asked a direct question about it. Like it's not like it's unprompted. None of this is unprompted. Peyton didn't come out of nowhere and say, I got to tell you people something about last year, and then went on a rant. Right. Aaron Rodgers didn't start the press conference by saying, now, before any questions, I need to address what Sean Payton said about my coach. Yeah. So it's all coming from a place of prompting. That being said, I'm actually more on the side of Nathaniel Hackett. I haven't been coaching for some odd years, but I've been watching football for a long time. And I said this yesterday. I used the phrase body slam. I have never seen a coach body slam another coach that way in the media. Unless it's like true rivalry stuff. I've seen a couple of those ones where like, oh, that guy's a POS. Like I've seen that. Right. That's almost better than saying they're a terrible coach. Like actually insult them, attack their family, but leave their job integrity out there. I don't know. It's just I feel like it's a little strange. Aaron Rodgers didn't really need to be in it. Sean Payton didn't really need to be in it. It's just between Hackett and Russ.
It could have all just not happened, and we would have been no worse for it. But what it does is it sets up a Week 5 showdown when the Jets come to Denver.
Denver ticket prices are increasing for Week 5.
I bet they are. I bet that's going to be exciting.
Well, they asked Sean Payton about it again today or yesterday, and they said, hey, do you care to respond to Aaron Rodgers' comments? And he says, no, we're past it.
Yeah, it's all over.
That's it. It's done. Like, this whole thing was a big hubbub, and then it wasn't.
But fans won't let go. So there's going to be that.
Well, the internet always
remembers. Internet remembers everything. So there's that. And by the way, just so everybody knows, we just this is totally off topic, but we just got a shout out from Missouri on our YouTube page, by the way. So we
Like
get listeners
the state?
listeners in Missouri. We have
Say,
listeners,
got the
not the
whole
whole state. Yeah, the state of Missouri. Yeah, no,
Do you get the Missouri commercials there?
no. Do they have them?
So, yeah, so the state of Missouri, you know how every state has like tourism
Yeah.
commercials, like explore Oregon, that sort of thing.
I know. Yeah.
What is the Washington one? Do they have a
I don't
catchy
see
tagline?
those. I don't even see a Washington. We don't have the only ones we get are California.
I get the California ones here too.
Yeah.
But we get Missouri ones here. And what it is, it's this girl and she pops up, she's like, "Hi, I'm Mo." Or it's like, "I'm
Mo.
Missouri, but my people call me Mo. And here's what I like to do." And she's like doing all these different things.
Oh my gosh.
So I just always call Missouri Mo now because of that.
That's great.
But we're a lot closer to Missouri here than you are there. So I
Yeah.
guess that's part. I say a lot closer. We're closer.
Well, you are. I mean, you're a third of the way there, right?
Yeah.
From here.
But this is just going to sell some tickets. It's going to be fodder for the internet. People are going to go crazy over it. And then if the Broncos are terrible in weeks 1 and 2 and 3, you're going to get a snide Aaron Rodgers comment or something like that.
I'm on board with snide Aaron Rodgers.
Or if the Broncos are really good in weeks 1, 2, and 3, you're going to hear nothing out of the Jets camp. Or if the Jets are bad.
Right.
See, here's what I think. If the Jets are bad, I don't think Sean Payton's going to say anything.
No, he won't.
If the Broncos are bad, I think Aaron Rodgers might make a comment. He should worry about their own offense over there or something like that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: all you have to do if you're Sean Payton, because he's on a 3-year deal or a 4-year deal, all you have to do is be better than Hackett was last year.
Yeah.
If you're better than Hackett was last year, which is a low bar,
it is.
Then you are set up for success in
Yeah.
the fans' eyes.
No,
They'll
kidding.
be like, all right, hey, we're moving in the right direction. We don't love it. We want to win right away, right now, but we're set up for success.
We got this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's going to be interesting. I like it.
Yeah. Keeps things spicy.
It does. That's what we're after is spicy. Isn't it? I don't know. Let's talk about some stuff.
Okay.
That we can. So here's the second half of the show, brought to you by Boss Kitty Hand-Dyed Yarns, by the way. We're going to talk about an interesting topic, something we don't really have a parameter for. I don't really have a formula for it or a way to do it effectively. But what we wanted to find out was, what's the best sport to watch on TV, and or what's the best sport to watch in person, to go to the game? Which ones do you like to do at the game? Which ones do you like to do at home? And why, I guess, is the question. Why is it better to do it one way or the other? So I'm not exactly sure where we want to start, but let's start with the ones that are better to watch in person.
Better to watch in person.
Things you would actually pay a ticket price, whatever it is, and go to the game if you had the opportunity. And
we're talking all sports.
Of any sport, any kind. It doesn't really matter what it is. But
it's bocce ball.
Is it? I mean, I think it's free.
I'm pretty sure no one's paying to watch bocce ball.
No one's ever bought a ticket to that ever. I mean, there might be a bocce world championship. I don't know.
100% there is.
I'm sure there is, because there's cornhole.
There's a cornhole world championship, and that's just dudes drinking beer, watching other guys play cornhole. It's not that exciting.
Those guys are athletes.
It's so.
Yeah.
Gosh, talk about
like curling.
It's
like the curling guys, right? In the Olympics,
right.
The curling guys are, a bunch of dad bods out there. Yeah.
We love those guys, though.
And we do, because they're more like every person. It's like a sport that, and I use the term loosely, sport. It's throwing rocks on ice. It's it's a sport that you could play. You might not be great at it, but you don't have to run fast. You don't have to throw hard. You do have to be a pretty good sweeper. So, there's that.
Yeah.
If you don't like cleaning. So anyway, here's the question. If you were going to go, what would you pay money to go watch in person? What sport would you pay money to go watch in person? Give me a sport.
I think basketball.
Okay. Why?
I think basketball is the best value. It's not too long, right? Because length of game is important. It's not too long of a sport. The ticket prices, because there's 82 games, are somewhat reasonable.
Okay.
Right. There's some places are outrageous. Find a ticket to a Golden State game for under $100, I dare you. But there's pretty constant action. If you take your eyes off of it for a few seconds, you're going to miss something. Right. Probably. That doesn't happen with all sports, but in basketball, it's pretty consistent. Then there's the star power. You have these big names, very, especially lately, if you go to the right game, you could be watching, LeBron. You could be watching like 4 Hall of Famers at once,
Right.
which is great. I mean, at any given point, there's guys on the come up. So I think basketball provides top to bottom the best experience to watch in person.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I put the NBA as a better at home, and I will tell you why.
Okay.
So the seats that the average person can get without breaking the bank are pretty high up in the stadium, right? I mean,
usually, yeah, they're a little
upper
up there.
level. So what you're seeing is very small. So the minutia of the basketball game, the steals, the hands on the ball, was it a foul? Did he touch him? Did he step on the line? You can't quite see that from where you're sitting. I mean, you can see some of it, but not all of it. I like seeing those things. I like knowing that those things have happened. So when I watch NBA, I like instant replay. Right?
Hold on.
Go ahead.
We have a qualifier here now. How good are my seats at the game?
Well, that's
Whatever the
true,
game is.
and it would
because basketball from the front row is incredible.
It's better
for the reasons you're talking about.
It's better, but if I'm in the front row at this end, I still can't see what's going on under the basket at the other end.
Stuff.
Because you know why? Because I'll tell you what, even if I'm in the front row, there's a waiter in my way probably now.
Right. Well, sometimes.
I mean,
they're supposed to not come during play.
Okay. Yeah.
So supposed to and not happening are two different things.
Or there's a coach in my way.
But there's a speed limit. People still speed.
Right.
So.
Exactly. It's interesting to watch. I feel like I like it better at home, because I'll one of those reasons is every basketball venue I've ever been in, and I haven't been in that many, but every one that I've ever been in, there's a line to use the bathroom. There's a line to get a concession if you didn't go early and eat before the game. If you got there an hour early, right when the gates opened, and you went in and you got some food and you sat down and you had your thing, great. But at any other point in time, if you go at the break and don't want to miss action, you're going to miss action. You're going to miss either the beginning of it or the end of it because you're waiting in line for something, either go to the bathroom or to get a beer or whatever. Because at NBA games, they don't bring around stuff. No one brings it to the average guy. Now, if you're in the front row, there is a waiter. Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
To prevent you from getting up and moving and
correct.
things like that. Yeah. They'd rather have 1 or 2 people doing it than 40, 50 people got to go to the bathroom at the same time.
But in the 200, 300 level where I'm sitting,
you go get it yourself.
You go get it yourself. And I'm old. I don't like going up and down steep stairs, but hey, whatever. So there's a lot of things I don't like about it. Waiting in line is one of the things. Waiting in line to pee is one of those things I just don't like to do.
Well, but I think a part of that is where are you watching this game? Because I've been to 3 professional basketball games, and at 2 of them, I had no issues with lines.
And
at the Blazer game, it's awful.
It's a line. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Every time, pre-game, during the game, in breaks, doesn't matter. There's always a line for something.
Yeah, I don't fault you for saying you like to be there at those games. I would liken being at the mid court, like a center court ticket, to being at a tennis match. You're gonna do a lot of head turning. It's this way. Now it's this way.
Well, that's why I like sitting on like an end corner.
Yeah, well, that would be better. But again, when they're on the other end of the court, it's still kind of hard to see sometimes.
But there's a jumbotron up there, and then it's like you're watching it at home.
Yeah, there's a jumbotron that I have to break my neck backwards to look up and see if I'm in the front row.
If I'm above, it out from left, right, left, up.
If I'm above,
left, right, left.
It's
up.
True. It's true. If I'm above,
sounds like I'm giving a code for like a video game. Left,
right.
Left, up.
Circle, square. Yeah, no, I could see that. All right. I will tell you this. In person,
yeah,
I prefer baseball. And I'll tell you why. Baseball is boring. No matter where you're watching it, right? Something about being at a baseball game is relaxing. There's fresh cut grass. It's sunny. You're outside, right?
It's too hot.
Sometimes it depends. Not in Colorado.
Most of the time, because are you kidding me?
Right now, maybe.
The whole west side of the stadium from the month of June through August is nothing but just baking people.
Okay, but did you go to a game in April when it was snowing?
I went in May.
Yeah, that's
and
what I'm
it
saying.
Was super hot.
And when you go to a game in late September, when it's snowing, it won't be
Like,
warm.
like you're paying money to go watch the Rockies in
I'm
late
just
September.
no one is, but and
No
that's
one's
true, and
paying
that's
that
part
money.
of it. Is that's part of what I like about going to a baseball game is there's always tickets available unless your team is really really good.
It's true. The only time you won't get tickets is so like Cassie and I were thinking about going to a 4th of July game
Yeah,
because I have a coworker who works for the Rockies and he was like, "Hey, if you have a ticket, I'll just walk you over into my section. I know where the empty seats are."
there you go.
And I was like, heck yeah! And then we went and looked at the tickets for that day, and they were all sold out because it was the 4th of July. They were
Yeah,
doing fireworks
special
after the
event.
game, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh, damn kids!
if there's a giveaway or a special, it's a holiday.
Bobblehead night,
Yeah, those
yeah.
are hard, but for the most part,
I do
if
like baseball games.
if you have a Tuesday off and they're playing baseball, no one's at that baseball game. It doesn't matter who
Yeah.
they are.
You can find a $15
Yeah.
ticket down the first baseline
Yeah.
and watch all those plays.
And
Yeah.
and I like the smell of the baseball park. I like just the atmosphere of baseball. I don't have to pay attention for every moment of everything that's happening like you kind of do in basketball.
But it sounds like the best things about baseball is not baseball. It's being outside.
It's the atmosphere. That's what I'm saying.
So the same reason that golf is appealing is the same reason that baseball is appealing is the same reason that field hockey might
Golf.
be appealing is the same reason that you know what I mean, because it's
Golf.
like it's all relaxed. Well, I guess field hockey's not.
So golf, and I have a picture of golf on the thing when it comes
I
up.
saw, yeah.
But golf, I've been to a PGA Tour event. I've been to an
Right.
LIV golf event. The problem with golf while you're outside is great. And if you want to go camp at one spot, you don't have to walk. But if you want to follow a particular golfer, you got to walk 18 holes. And you've got to fight with other people to get a viewpoint because there's no stands.
And
You've got to
you have
maneuver.
no clue what's happening with the other golfers.
You've got to
Well,
maneuver. Yeah, you got to maneuver your way in the crowd and try and find the right viewing angle of whatever, and that's not easy. If you're willing to go stay at one hole, get there early, park at a green, and watch
Yeah.
all the groups come through, it's fantastic.
Any
Golf,
sport without assigned seating is asking for chaos.
absolutely, but you're not wrong. It is. But
Have you seen when they open the doors at is it TPC Sawgrass, the Waste Management?
Oh, yeah.
Open?
any
When
of
they
the-
do that, they do that run where those people just sprint down the road to go get the front row seat.
That's what happens at golf. And I've been to the Masters practice, even the practice rounds, not even the actual tournament. I've been to two Masters
Full
practice rounds, and I'm there in the crowd waiting for the doors, the gates to open, right?
Yeah.
And the minute it opens, zoom to the 18th green, and I'm going, wait a minute, guys, no one's going to show up at the 18th green for 5 hours.
But guess what? When they do, you'll be on ESPN briefly.
For 5 hours, you got to sit there and hold your seat. And then there's some that run right to Amen Corner, 12, 13, those holes. And I get it. But even hole 12 at the Masters, you can't sit around the green. You can only sit behind the tee box. You can't go up there. So there's certain places you can and can't go on a golf course, on certain golf courses especially. So it's not like you're going to be like right there in the middle of the action. Some places you can and some places you can't. And it's just I didn't like all of the walking. I will tell you this. At the Masters, the concession prices are ridiculously cheap.
Really?
It's unbelievable.
I would never have thought that.
So the Masters has a very limited menu in terms of what they serve.
Sure, a couple beers, couple snacks.
They serve sandwiches, for the most part, right?
Well,
At
hold
their
on. When you say
concession.
sandwiches, do you mean like PB&J, ham and cheese, or do you mean like
So
here's a roast beef sandwich?
So the pimento is the big favorite, right? The pimento salad thing, which is the big Georgia thing. But they have
it's like a traditional like club style.
But they have turkey and ham, and they have those kind of things. Yeah. And I literally, I'm not joking. I got a turkey and cheese sandwich, chips, and a water, right, for $4.
Well,
$4.
When was this?
This was the second one I went to. So 97. It would have been 2008.
2008.
Yeah. I was just
I
looking.
wonder what the cost is now.
It's like $1 more.
It's
a
still
bottle
that cheap.
A bottle of water is $2 at the Masters. $2.
Golf is impervious to inflation, apparently.
The Masters is because they have money.
Masters
They don't
is.
need your money.
Yeah, they could care less.
The membership
e-commerce.
price is so much that it covers your everything. But they literally sell. They used to have like this peach ice cream sandwich, which was like amazing. They don't have it anymore. But again, $2. It's not like it's $20 for anything. You know,
Hey,
you
quick side note: do they have gators at
did what?
in Augusta? Do they have gators, alligators in
No,
Augusta?
no gators.
I wouldn't have thought so.
No,
Never mind.
there's no swamp.
Yeah, I
It's
didn't
not.
think so,
It's
but
not quite
it's
swampy.
Georgia. I didn't know how.
Well,
I was like, is it that far enough south?
nah,
Or
no. But anyway, it's pretty cool. Anyway, I've been there, and I've been now at Hilton Head. I've been to the. It used to be the it's at Harbortown Golf Links. It used to be the MCI Heritage Classic. It's now called something else. I've been to that one of those rounds on a Saturday. They do have gators, so there's that. Just,
bummer.
There are certain places you just don't go.
By the way, that just gave me a minute.
Oh, good. It's good. Anyway, but golf is one of those things in person. Not so much. If I'm at home watching it, I'll fall asleep. There's no doubt. I'm going to fall asleep. It's not exciting, right? The only thing that will wake me up is a roar of a crowd if something awesome were to happen. But for the most part, it's just boring, and you got to walk all day. And so there's that. But it is pretty interesting. If you like one particular golfer and you want to watch him and follow him, you can do that, and that's pretty cool. But anyway, there's that. So give me another sport that you'd rather watch in person. Do you have another one?
In person?
Yeah.
So the problem is most sports aren't great to watch in person.
Okay.
But that being said, there's one that kind of makes my list on and off. It's like a foot in, foot out.
Okay.
So I'm going to say that one next. That's track and field. And the reason being is because sprints and races are fun to watch.
They are.
But while they're doing that, those people are shot putting, those people are long jumping, and that guy's doing the high jump. I can't watch it all.
I mean,
like, it's too much going on at once, and it still takes 6 hours for all of it.
Right.
So the track part of track and field is fun to watch, especially 100-meter, 200-meter sprints, 500-meter sprints, things like that. But when you start getting into but there's a reason why cross country is not fun to watch. Is because it takes forever and you can't follow the whole thing.
Cross country running or long distance running. Yeah, we're gonna run the 10,000 meters now. Oh, that's a long race. I mean, you can just check back later, right? Because that's all you want to do. Anyway,
so the track part of track and field is fun to watch. I like watching people race like that.
And the field events are actually fun to watch because
if you're not, your attention isn't drawn into the 100-meter dash that's happening in front of it.
Correct. Yeah, because they're all going on at the same time. Yeah, it's true.
They do a lot at once.
Okay. I am going to tell you that I think college football is better at the stadium. And
I'd love to hear this.
And I'll tell you why. Because of the atmosphere and the experience. It's not necessarily the game itself. If we're talking about the football game itself, the production value of the game itself, no, it's better to watch that at home.
Right.
Right? The NFL is the same way, I think.
Yeah.
However, the experience of the college atmosphere, the tailgating, if you're going to do that, the walking around campus, the whole general game day experience of being at a college thing, the walk, every team's got a walk that they do before the game, right?
What's the Oregon's called? The March to Victory?
Yeah, I don't know.
Some victory march or something like that.
But those are experiences that make the game day more exciting. They make it more interesting. And all of those things combined together. Yeah, I don't like the lines at the bathroom. I don't like the concession stand lines.
I'll say those are all there too.
I don't like the fact that they serve alcohol now at college games, and your limit is 2. Oh, well, I'll take 2, and let me go hand these to my buddy and come back, and I'll get 2 more. I mean, I don't like that. That's, you know what I mean? There's nobody really. We got alcohol monitors. Do you though? Are you really monitoring it? And those people, there's people that get out of hand. And it's been that way when we would go. There's been people that get out of hand because they just do nothing but drink the whole time. They drank before they came. And now they're drinking
I hate
here.
to tell you this. There have been like 6 riots in NFL history, like where they've spilled onto the field, and all of them were in the 70s and 80s.
Sure, I know. But
so as rowdy as things have gotten, it will never be as rowdy as it once was.
Yeah, that's maybe.
That was back when teams weren't making enough money to really secure the field, and things like that. But you talked to me about dollar beer nights before. They don't do that anymore for a reason.
No, you can't get a nickel beer.
That was some genius in the 90s. Like, you know what I got?
It was. And it would be genius now. You would sell out. I mean, it'd be great.
People were responsible.
But you don't have you don't have the responsible people. You don't have anybody really monitoring it like you should, and you don't have the security to handle it if it goes bad. But I like the atmosphere of college football, of game day.
It is nice.
Right?
It's a different kind of passion.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the NFL fans are super passionate, but college is different because
It's different.
a lot of those people went there. A lot of those
Right.
people are connected to it for different reasons. Met their
Or their
wives there, met
whole
their families
family
there,
went
whatever.
there, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah, it's a tradition.
It's very, very different.
There's a lot of tradition and pageantry in the bands. You know, you don't have a band.
Student sections are great.
Yeah, you don't have a band in the NFL. Why don't we have a band? Why is there no band?
Well, the New Orleans does.
Well, that's different. New Orleans has a band for everything. You just go walk down the street in New Orleans and there's a band
everywhere.
Yeah, there is. I'm not joking. I've been there. I walked down Bourbon Street and what I see, 2 or 3 different bands just walking down the street,
live music.
playing music and people dancing. It's crazy. Anyway, I like college football. I do. I think it's better at the stadium than it is at home because you don't get the same experience. The viewing part of it, if you're not invested in the team, is better at home.
Right.
But
I just think that people have ruined college football.
Okay.
I like going to college football games. I love the Oregon Ducks. They are my favorite sport. Team. Oregon Ducks football is my favorite sport and team to watch ever. I would watch that every day of the week. I watch highlights in the off season of like 4 or 5 years ago. Just like, I remember that Vernon Adams game. Let me watch this highlight reel.
Right.
I watch so much of it.
I do.
But when you go to a game, so one of the things I can't stand about college football is that football is your classic American sport. And with your classic American sport, you get some what I'd call classic American people. And those people, I said it and a picture of a person popped in your head. You're like, yep,
classic.
I know those people.
I know a classic American person.
And those people are not the best people, right? So when something happens, when the Ducks screw up, or when the other team does something really good, I'll go, damn, that was a good play. Or I'll go, that's a holding. Right. And everyone around you looks at you like you're the Antichrist. Like
right.
you just dogged on their team.
Right.
Like, this is my team too. I'm just not an idiot.
I'm not an idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm completely willing to admit when either I was wrong, when my team is wrong, or whatever.
There's been times when you're sitting there watching and you go, it's clearly pass interference. And everyone around you is like, boo, and they're yelling at the referee, and I'm like, oh my, it's clearly pass interference. I mean, I don't know what you guys want.
Football's that sport where people take it. I mean, soccer's ultimately that sport, but football is that sport in America where people take it too far.
They do.
They yell inappropriate things, they say inappropriate things, and they think, well, it's because we're fans. We're just passionate. It's like, that's not okay.
That's not okay.
I feel like it doesn't happen in the NFL as much as it does in college. You get these because again, it's a different kind of passion. It's a little more connected because the University of Oregon is rooted in Eugene's community, right?
Correct.
So a lot of those people are from Eugene. They're from that area. The University of Texas is rooted in Austin's, community.
Yeah.
So,
and they've been there 100 and something years, right?
Right, right. Whereas the NFL, you're talking about, if you're a fan of the Titans, that's only been in Nashville for a while, 20, 30 years or whatever it is. And people are only fans of them, either because they were Oilers fans then transitioned, or because they became a fan when they got there, or because they were popular on TV, which most college football fans, weren't fans of teams because they were popular on TV because you only got them regionally for 30 years. Like you were not getting Oregon Duck games in the 90s in, Georgia.
Right.
But you were getting them in Oregon every week. So I just think it's different, but people have ruined college football for me. Yeah. I like it. But what makes it unbearable is the things you talked about to me is the play on the field is tough sometimes because there's stoppages, TV timeouts. Although I'll tell you, when they added that guy who holds up that sign with the clock on it, it made it so much better. Just knowing when it's going to end
it's coming
was so much more relieving.
Right.
But I don't know. But I love watching football, and I will always go to football games and things like that. But even with the NFL and college, people are tough. People are awful.
So what do you like? And by the way, if anybody hears my dog in the background, and you're gonna, Sky's back there complaining because no one's paying attention to him. He gets lonely.
Classic Sky.
I mean, so if you hear him, he's yelling at me right now. So, so what's better to watch on TV? Let's just go that route. What's better to
watch on TV?
Yeah, what's better to watch on TV?
Football.
NFL football.
All football.
College.
Because there's a handful of reasons why.
Yeah.
One, the big breaks, they don't affect you. You can go to the bathroom, no lines, nothing like that, right?
Right.
Two, there's an obvious cost implication, right? It's much cheaper to watch it from home. So for the price of going to the game and buying your 4 beers over the course of a 3-hour event. You can stay home and have 50 beers for the same price.
Right.
Like it's not equivalent. Number 3, instant replay. You don't get them in the stadiums.
Not very
Like,
much.
In college, they have rules against
Right.
showing replays.
Yeah.
More than one time or whatever. You have to show it once at full speed. You can't show slow speed replays in some stadiums, and that's the way it was for when we went to Oregon games.
Yeah.
So that bums me out. So I'd rather be at home, being able to know.
To see it
I
all.
remember I was texting people in the crowd at Oregon games, like, "Hey, does that look like a fumble to you?"
Yeah.
I shouldn't be having to ask those questions from inside the stadium. I am 100 yards away from where it happened.
Right. And that's the thing is when it's when you're sitting, no matter where you're sitting, there's a spot on the field where you go, I can't see anything.
You can't see anything, even if you're dead at midfield.
Yeah.
It's on the far hash.
Yeah, far hash in the corner.
Holding on the far hash,
yeah,
you can't see it.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So, but that's why I think the corner is the best spot for everything. And like one of the corners slightly higher up, you can get a view of most everything that happens and develops. You're just still going to miss some holding on one end or another. But those 3 things are huge for me in terms of like, and also I'm a loud football fan. I get loud, I yell, I cheer. I don't want to embarrass myself in public.
Right.
So I'd rather be at home in a place where I feel comfortable to where if I say, "Are you kidding me?" I don't sound like the loudest voice in a crowd.
You still do in the apartment complex. But
I still do in the apartment. I mean, all my neighbors know, but that's just 30 people versus,
That's true. It's
1,000
not as bad. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting. By the way, this picture keeps coming up here of
Which
the
one?
Patriot Stadium.
Yeah, that's them waiting to go
With
pee.
the walkways with the arrows on the ground.
They're crazy looking.
That's great.
Well, you go this way. Like people are going to pay attention to that.
Well, but if they don't, you can just say, "Hey, buddy, look at your feet."
And they might do that in Boston.
Yeah, they say it just like that.
Just
Hey,
like
where you
that.
going,
Hey.
guy?
Hey.
But yeah, I've seen that picture like 5 or 6 times. I'm like, that's a great idea.
Hey, Copernicus.
College football, I like it. I like watching it, or not college football, all football. I prefer to watch it at home, just because I feel like it's easier to enjoy, especially if you get some friends around you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, I mean, friends, and that makes
you can have a little crowd. It feels like you're kind of there, but not.
Right, and you can cook whatever you want.
You can cook whatever you want.
Whatever you want. I like NFL football at home. I do. I like the instant replays. I like the commentators for the most part. Most of them.
For the most part, yeah.
Some of them are kind of, but Jim Nantz and Tony Romo are doing a game. There's nowhere I'd rather be than listening to those 2 guys do a CBS game, whatever the AFC game of the week is, and just, you know what I mean? It's great. Olympic sports. You were talking about track and field. Olympic sports, number one, because of the cost to go to an Olympic event, right? I mean, you can buy, you got to buy tickets for specific Olympic event. It's not like the whole Olympics. You don't buy a ticket for the whole Olympic. I mean, maybe you can. I don't know. That's probably a fortune, right? For like an all access thing. But there are events that happen in the track and field stadium. There are events that happen at the basketball stadium. There are events that happen at the swimming center in the winter. There's downhill skiing is over here, but cross country skiing is over here, but ice skating is over here. They're different events, and you have to pay for each one separately, right?
Yeah.
And the travel that it would require
it's a whole thing.
is a big deal. And like you were saying about track and field, while it's cool to watch the races and be there and the roar of the crowd as they come down the stretch, and that's a big deal. They're also, the TV people are recording what happened in the javelin, and I'm going to watch that as soon as this is done. They're going to show me
as soon as
all
they cross the line, I'm going to get to see any highlights that I need to see.
Right. They're going to keep me up to date on all the interesting things, and so I really don't need to be there to see it. It would be neat to be in the stadium for it, but I'm not sure that I'll ever go to an Olympic event. Just because it's cost prohibitive, really.
Well, the Olympics are coming here in what, 4 years?
Portland?
So it's coming to the U.S. The Olympics are doing more than just Portland. Like Seattle's possibly a host site for. Oh no, that's the World Cup. The World Cup's coming back to the U.S.
Yeah,
but the Olympics are coming. But the Olympics are coming to L.A.
Yeah,
soon.
You can't afford that. L.A.'s so expensive. And I mean, I understand.
Yeah, but we could afford it more than going to Korea to watch them.
True. So. There's some other sports that I guess it really doesn't matter, like tennis. Have you ever been to a tennis match?
I've been to a ton of tennis matches, and I'll tell you this:
professional?
It's not. Well, I've been to a bunch of college tennis matches.
College tennis matches.
But regardless, in terms of watching the sport, so half of what we've talked about here isn't the sport; it's the atmosphere. It's about that's what's about going to the game. Is this ruins it, that ruins it. But the thing on the field is still this or that. Tennis, in terms of a sport, is actually kind of fun to watch because the sets aren't usually too long. They kind of go. You stay pretty engaged because you can't blink. Like if you blink, something's happening. So I don't know. I feel like tennis is pretty fun to watch in person.
And there's a break after each point. You know,
there's a break after each point. There's a little reprieve where you can unlock your eyes for a second and just kind of rub them.
Yeah, where you can,
and then get back to your head movements.
Right, where you can ask the person next to you, "Was that in? Was that
in?"
Yeah, and I get that. Soccer is one of those things that if you like the atmosphere of the crowd and the chanting and the singing and the club atmosphere of soccer, I could understand why you'd want to go watch the games in person. But for the most part, there's smoke and a guy in front of me who's drunk and singing and has got his scarf up in the air, and I can't see a damn thing behind him.
Yeah.
I'm behind him, and I'm not going to see anything. And that would bother me. That would just bother me, which means I got to buy a more expensive ticket to get away from those guys.
Yeah. I've been to probably 20 Timber games, and I've sat in the Timbers Army twice. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, terrible.
But most of the other seats aren't too bad because most of the people aren't like that. They'll sing when songs are sung, but they don't get as into it. They stay seated until there's a goal.
But since you've done it, you've had the experience, and now you don't really need the experience again, is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah. Now, but here's what I'll tell you. I would rather watch a soccer game in person than at home, only because at home I will go do something else.
I sat and watched the Seattle Sounders play the New England Revolution to a 0-0 tie over at
I've watched a couple ties.
What's the stadium now? I don't know what Seattle stadium is. It's CenturyLink now. It was called Quest Field at the time.
Yes, it used to be the Q. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was 0-0 scoreless tie, and that was 90 minutes of frustration.
Yeah, I can imagine. But there were probably some close calls. They got the crowd excited.
There's five or six moments of excitement, and the rest of it was like, there's nothing happening here.
Soccer's tough because we're as Americans, we're used to the basketball and football, which have even football, which is a little intermittent stuff. There's a lot of action on each play.
You want scoring.
I want scoring. I don't want to see. So I remember I was watching a Timbers game once, and it was a tie game. I think it was a 1-1 tie. So at least there was some scoring. But the goalie kicked the ball out to the defender.
Yeah.
The defender took it, kicked it back to the goalie. Somebody started to rush the goalie, so he kicked it back to a different defender. Somebody started to rush him, so he kicked it back to the goalie. And I was like, what the hell are we doing here?
Right.
Like, let's push this upfield. Like, you're losing me. This has been 30 seconds, and I've watched the ball go between three people. I could see this at a youth soccer field.
It's all about possession.
It's all about possession.
Setting it up.
So, but I will say, so I work for the Colorado Rapids now, and I'm around it a lot more. And I've had to watch like training film and things like that for like how do they set up their fields and things like that. It's interesting. You start to understand a little more. That being said, it's still. If I'm watching soccer, I want to be in person because if I'm at home, I'll be like, you know what, the dishes need to be done. It's still 0-0.
It's kind of boring.
Yeah. It's just a little too.
And so I threw a picture on here, and you've probably seen it pop up. I threw a picture up here of the Tour de France, and I stopped to think about that. These were the
gotta
things,
be the most boring.
These were the things that I did not think about when we started this. I literally just thought of it today, and the reason I threw it up there is there are people who go to the Tour de France to watch. Now, that being said, you have to sit in a spot and wait for the riders to come by, and they're going to run by you at about 30 miles an hour. Yeah, so you're going to sit in a spot and watch them come by, and then either you're going to move to a new spot, right, for the next stage, or you're done, and that's it. Was it worth it to watch them rush by you at some spot or run alongside them with the sign and potentially trip one of them up? I don't know. Not that that's happened, but that's happened. I mean, it just seems like a weird. If you're that invested in cycling, I can't imagine. If I live in a town that they're coming through, okay, I might go out to the side of the road and watch them go by. But I can't imagine flying from the United States to go to France, to stand by the side of the road and watch cyclists drive by me if it wasn't the finish line.
Right.
And how do you get to the finish line? That's one of those, it's probably packed, right?
Yeah.
So
how fun would it be to be one of those guys on the motorcycles, though?
Yeah,
like just filming it and watching it as it's like coming up alongside you and stuff. You'd be like, "Oh, this is
the motorcycle dudes are pretty cool." Yeah,
they always seem like they have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was thinking the same thing about F1 when I was thinking like,
Yeah,
All
and
right,
I've been to
here
one.
another minute and a half.
And I've been to one, and let me just say that my experience is not going to be typical of your average F1 fan, because I had really good seats and tickets.
Yeah,
So because we were in the paddock club, we had TVs inside, right? So we can watch it on TV. We can watch the broadcast of it. We're standing right above pit lane, so when anybody comes into pit lane, you can see them. You can literally look straight down. You can
that's
see it.
probably pretty cool.
You can also, as they come by, you're going to get them once a lap come by. There's also food. And constantly all day there was food. So if you weren't doing any of that, you could just sit and eat something, which was pretty cool. But from where we were, you could sit, like I said, you could see the main straight, the start straight, and you could see you're right above pit lane. And then if you went out the back door, you could see, and this was at Austin at the Circuit of the Americas. You could go out the back door and you could actually see a couple of other turns from the back. So you could watch more of the race if you wanted to go stand out there by the railing.
That's pretty cool.
And then if you look straight down from the back where we were, you were literally actually looking at the paddock where the team buildings are.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the race, that was cool because you saw all the drivers walking by and
I do
walking
think
to
it's
their
kind of neat that they set up essentially a community
yeah.
everywhere they go.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a neat experience to do. And we got other things, perks involved. We got a pit lane walk, and we got to go on a flatbed truck that went around the track. Right? It just you stood on the flatbed and it drove around the circuit, so you could actually see all the corners, and it was pretty neat. We got to go on what they call a photo safari, which was down in turns 3 and 4, which is this little chicane looking thing, and we got to go sit by the fence, not in the stands, but right up by the fence, the retaining wall, basically.
Yeah.
And watch them come by during practice or it was practice, and that was really neat. So get access to things you wouldn't normally get, which is pretty cool. But overall, if you bought a ticket and sat in one spot and just watched them come by once every 2 minutes, I don't know. I don't know if that's exciting or not.
It'd be a little lackluster,
especially if you were out on a turn that wasn't the finish. You know what I mean? If you were out in the middle, turn 8, and you're like, okay, and nobody crashes there today, and there's nothing happens, might be a waste of time. Anyway, I don't know. It was interesting. It was a fun time. Had a great time. Loved every minute of it. It's a great experience. My experience is going to be different because it was upper level. So, yeah. Anyway, what else? We got anything else we want to talk about? Any other sports that you're thinking about that we didn't cover? Hockey.
So hockey was the other one that I was going to say is good to watch in person.
Yeah.
Hockey, I think. Well, so hockey's probably actually about equal now that I'm thinking about it, because it's so engaging constantly that you're constantly looking. There are some blind spots in person that suck.
Yeah.
When they're real close up against the glass and you're not on the glass, you're not really seeing what's happening at their feet.
Right.
So that kind of sucks. But hockey's also kind of a rolling clock. I mean, it does stop when the puck goes out of play, but it's a fairly rolling clock, and there's big breaks. Your breaks are 15 minutes long in between each period, or whatever it is, 20 minutes long between each period. So that's awesome. So that you don't have to worry about a line taking up 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your time, and you missing a whole bunch of action. Even if everyone gets up and goes to the bathroom at the same time, you're good. Also, hockey fans seem kind of aggressive at times, but they seem like they know their limits.
Yeah.
They seem like they have that line in their head and they don't cross it. They'll heckle and they'll chirp and they'll drink a ton of beer and they'll be loud, but they seem like all the games I've been to, like they never quite cross that line.
Well, the line is the glass. You don't throw
the line is the glass,
and
there's a
separated.
big net on both ends, so there's a very small window to cross.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's harder.
Also, hockey players seem more engaged with the crowd than some other sports.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. They seem like they pay attention. They give people sticks all the time. They give people pucks all the time. Like it just seems very nicer.
Baseball players do the same thing. I mean,
baseball players do the same thing. Yeah.
And that's kind of nice. That's good to see.
Well, it's a little engagement aspect, but hockey to baseball, like being engaged during the game.
But hockey is there's so much more going on. Yeah. It's so busy. It's a busy sport, and I like that. I mean, so it really doesn't matter if, I guess to me, if I watch it on TV or in person. In person, it's cool. To see the stuff that happens, but on TV you get the replays and you get the reverse angles, so you can see when the puck is up against the boards and stuff you couldn't see from where you were, so that's kind of cool.
That's the big plus of that. It's like you don't quite get the feel, because we went to an Avs game in November, and we're going to a couple more this year, and And it was we watched them play Nashville, and it was super fun. The crowd was excitable, and they got into it, and big hits weren't just a big hit, it was a big hit and then a ooh from the crowd, which kind of echoes. That doesn't happen at home.
Do you know what I like about NBA and NHL in person? The arena is not hot or cold. It is. And the NHL is actually, it's cooler in there. There's ice, but they're not. It's not hot or cold. If you go to an NFL game, there's a good chance it's going to be cold.
It's going to be a warm day or a cold day.
Right. There's a good
Unless
chance.
you're going to watch one of those few indoor
games. Or you're in LA, whatever.
Or you're in LA where the weather's just okay.
Right. If you go to a baseball game, there's a good chance it's going to be hot. It's summer. Unless you're going in October, right? So there's a good chance it's going to be warm.
Just so you know, when you go to a Rockies game, they hand out sunscreen at the gate.
I like it.
It's in these little packets. They hand them out. If you ever want to know if the Rockies games were hot, that's your answers. They hand out sunscreen at the gate. And they say, stay hydrated. There's signs everywhere.
That's great.
They stay hydrated.
Because they're not used to it.
What do you mean? Because
Colorado.
These are permanent fixtured signs.
I get
They're
it.
100% used to it.
And I get it. But what I'm saying is the winter is 6 months or 7 months or whatever it is, right?
It's not. What are you talking about?
It's cold. You could have.
It's high desert.
And I get it. But you could have snow anywhere from the October through April or May. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're not incorrect.
Okay,
but you also,
it's not
but
like
you
a
also
lot of
could
snow.
have snow in Portland in May.
No, but you're not going to have snow in October in Portland. It's not going to happen. It's going to be December. Here in Yakima, we don't get our first snow until at least the first weekend in December. It happens every year, and it's exactly the same. Do you know why? Because I always plan an anniversary trip, and it always snows and covers the passes on the first weekend in December. Happens every year. But that's the first major snowfall around here, is that. I mean, you might have seen a snowflake around Thanksgiving or something. Okay.
Yeah.
But the first weekend of December is snow time, and it lasts until March, and it's gone. In Denver, you actually, not that you're going to get measurable like a foot of snow, but you could see measurable or traces snowfall in October, early November. That's not out of the question. And into April for sure. May might be a little stretch, but anyway, I'm just saying, winter is 6 months in Colorado. It is.
Here's what I'm telling you, okay? Colorado has, and this is just the phrase sunniest, okay?
Okay.
Colorado has 245 sunny days per year.
Perfect.
All right. They also average 44, or at least where I live, average 44 inches of snow a year. By comparison, your city is 18.
Yeah.
So it's not that much. But the question is, how many warm days per year for Colorado, for Denver anyway?
So,
because I'm telling you, I'm talking to people here, and they're saying that no, this is like during the months from the month of May until the end of August, maybe even early September, it is hot here. It is unusually warm.
I hear you. What I'm saying is that those 2 or 3 days after the record snowfall that happened in November or early December, right, that buried the town, are sunny. Those are sunny days. Great. Yeah. But I've got 6 feet of snow.
According to Google, it says winter here is mid-November to early April.
That's 6 months, dude.
I hear what you're saying, but we're talking about the prime of sports season.
I get it. I'm just saying there's a good chance it's cold.
This started with you saying that Colorado fans going to baseball games might not be used to it.
What I'm saying, well, right, because baseball starts in April.
Because the most of baseball is in June and July and August.
June, July, and August, you're right. And it's hot, but it's hot everywhere. Don't tell me it's hotter in Denver than it is in Phoenix, but Phoenix is indoors.
And also, that's not fair. Pick a state that's somewhat comparable. Don't tell me it's hotter in Denver than
no one's comparable to Denver. No one, altitude-wise, is comparable.
You know it only takes like 8 days to acclimate to the crazy altitude change?
So you're there now, right? You can breathe now?
I'm telling you what, I still feel like I go up the stairs sometimes and I'm like, oh, this altitude's getting me.
Oh my God.
what am I doing here?
I feel like
I know that's not it. It's just me being chubby. That's all it is.
I feel like I'm carrying 100 extra pounds. I am.
Jesus, it's so hot.
All right.
Fair enough.
All right. Well, so you got a minute? I said something and you said it triggered you.
I got a minute.
So let's do Parker's minute. You know what? Let's just go back to. I don't like that.
Do we have a full song for the minute?
You want a song? You want to? We don't have that kind of a song, but I could use one of the other.
Oh
no! Okay.
It needs to sound like the Limu Emu, little stag sound. Limu Emu. He's be like, Parker's.
We're gonna have to make one. Is what we're gonna have to do.
I'll see if I can work
don't-
something out with that.
All right, go.
But for my minute here, I'm going to talk about why we should kill all the alligators in the U.S. You got me on this path, and it made me think about it. So there's one animal that I hate in the world, and that's alligators. I don't mind crocodiles because I haven't really experienced them, but I hate alligators. And the reason why is because alligators are very, very, very deadly. Now, they don't account for the most deaths in the U.S. That belongs to the brown bear, which has killed 77 people since 1970, followed by
Whoa!
the.
Are you on the U.S. Fish and Wildlife statistics?
I have been to a couple different sites over the course of this whole thing. 70 not 77.
Sorry.
70 deaths
It's
since
your-
1970.
It's your minute.
Sharks account for the second most with 57, tied with snakes with 57. All right. Black bears are at 54. Alligators actually fall in fifth at 33 deaths. However,
A year.
Since 1970.
Oh no, like total deaths?
Total deaths
Since 1970? I can't be sure.
Modern medicine's a miracle is all you should know
Oh.
about that.
Well,
That being said, alligators are responsible for 90% of loss of limb attacks in the U.S.
I'm gonna let you know.
There are people scattered around Florida missing fingers and hands and arms because of alligators.
I'm gonna let you
All
know
right.
a little secret. They're in Louisiana too.
They're in Louisiana, all across the South. Here's the thing. You go into the woods, you're keeping your eye out for bears. You go into the water, you're keeping your eye out for sharks. You're just existing in Florida, and a gator might be nearby. They're allowed to live so close and operate so close to people. Their brains, a 12-foot long alligator, a 400-pound, 12-foot long alligator, has a brain the size of 3 olives. It has no higher function. It has no access. I looked up all this information. I have strong opinions about alligators.
Oh my god.
They will kill anything for any reason if it so chooses to.
They're dinosaurs.
And if it doesn't kill you, it's going to rip some part of your body off.
They're dinosaurs.
They're dinosaurs. Why the hell would we allow it to exist? Now, the next question is, I bet you're wondering, people at home, don't they contribute something to the ecosystem? The answer is not really. They don't eat enough birds. They don't eat enough fish. They don't kill enough, cougars or whatever, or panthers that exist in Florida. Although alligators were responsible for this large chunk of Florida panthers that started to die off a while ago. But anywhoozles, they don't do enough to make them worth it. They don't kill mosquitoes. They don't kill anything. They just rip hands off of people who happen to be out leisurely swimming or floating down a river in Florida.
Leisurely. They're
not like manatees where they might bump you and startle you. It's like a manatee that would also rip your arm off.
Leisurely swimming down rivers in Florida.
And there are dumb people who try to tame them.
So this is what I was just gonna say. Is that you say that they don't contribute to the ecosystem. I would beg to differ and say that they do contribute to evolution, because those people that are out there,
Darwinism.
that are people that are out there messing with gators, you get what you deserve. You're gonna get it. So don't do that. But anyway,
I just don't see.
You wouldn't poke a T-Rex. Why are you gonna poke an alligator?
But it's not even that. And this is a sad thing. But do you remember that baby who got eaten by an alligator in Disney World?
Yeah, I do.
An alligator in Disney World.
Well,
we should start there with what's the problem here.
That was just
but they have tunnels built in their waterway systems to allow the alligators to move freely throughout the park with all of their guests. How stupid can you be?
They're not like wandering around down Main Street.
So you're right. The problem is Florida. We should get rid of Florida as a whole, and with it, some 80% of the alligator population.
I am on board with that.
Because my goodness,
where would all
it's one of my scariest stories, and I've told most people who know me. I've told it. I was in Florida, and I was at somebody's house, and I walked out back. It was early in the morning, like 7 or 8 a.m. on a golf course. They lived on a golf course. And I walked out back, and I'm standing there, and I'm just looking around. There's a water feature out, but it's really beautiful outside.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, these birds that were in a tree to my left kind of spread out and flew away. And then this gator that was slowly walking up to me goes going, what the hell is that guy doing here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The bird startled me. I startled him. We all freaked out and ran. But it got so close to me, within 5 feet of me.
Really?
Yes.
That's fun.
I don't think it was that big of a gator. I like in my brain, I'm like, it was 20 feet long, but it was probably like a 6-foot gator. But
Giant
nonetheless,
gator.
a 6-foot gator, if it grabs you, is going to start rolling
Yeah,
and just
roll.
shred
Absolutely. That's what they
some
do.
part of your body clean off.
Yeah.
And you have to live with that because this super sneaky, silent, mush brain monster just fucking walked up on you. It's terrible.
You have to get a hold of their snout before they open it because they can't open. Their
You have
jaws
to
don't
keep
open.
it closed. Yeah.
Their jaws don't
Yeah.
open very good. They don't
So
have the
what
muscles for that.
The official word on how to survive an alligator attack is let them roll and don't fight the roll.
Don't fight.
Roll with
Go
them.
with it. Yeah.
Go with it if you can.
If
God forbid your lumpy body catches on the ground and it keeps going, right? So try and go with them, but don't stop fighting. Because if you act like dead, if you play dead, they have no reason to let you go. They're just going to drag you into the water and drown you. So God forbid it doesn't kill you by eating your head. God forbid it doesn't kill you by making you bleed out. It's going to drown you. Alligators are the worst.
This show took an unexpected turn. And
you mentioned it
I
when I
love
said
it.
earlier, do they have alligators in Augusta?
I
And then it started
love
making
it.
me go, man, I hate alligators so much.
So my dad and I were golfing in Hilton Head when we lived in Savannah. We went golfing in Hilton. They came down and stayed in Hilton Head, and we went over there to visit. I don't know if you remember. You were, I don't know.
I was little, probably, yeah.
7 or 8. And we went over there to visit, and Dad and I went golfing, and we went out to a couple of different golf courses. And one of the golf courses, there was gators. There were on one of the holes that had water to the left, and there were just gators lining the bank to the left. So if your ball goes to the left, let it go. We'll drop one over here. But they don't come after you. It's not like they're coming running after you.
Because they're full. Like they've already eaten another golfer earlier that day.
That's why you don't get the early tee time. Come on, man. You don't want the 6 a.m. tea time. Just take it around noon or later.
Eaters.
Yeah, exactly.
I look at them and I think you have no business on this earth.
I mean,
you're just a terror.
They were here first. Let them be, man.
You know, and the reason why I put them at the highest point, even though there are other animals that kill more, is because bears are kind of, you can see them coming. They're kind of expected. You have to go into their territory to get hurt, right? Sharks is the same thing.
Yeah,
gators will straight walk into your house.
Yeah,
if you live in the right places.
So a bear or a cougar could end up in your house. I mean, it's possible.
It could, and it does happen. But usually you'll spook the crap out of them.
A shark won't.
A shark won't. Sharks are the easiest one to avoid in this whole
Absolutely, sharks are the easiest one to avoid.
Just don't. Don't go in the ocean.
And from what I heard during Shark Week, they're all on TV, so you don't have to worry about it's safe to go in the water because they're all busy. They're busy doing.
Real big fans of being on TV.
Busy.
Yeah.
Oh
every year I have to listen to, like, and I'm scared of sharks too. Sharks are a terrifying thing. I don't like open water because of sharks and things like that. But every year I have to listen to them tell me how sharks are so harmless, and then they show a video of it attacking a dummy seal, and I'm like, cool. I bet it's a real sweetheart.
Well,
I'm not gonna get into sharks because I don't mind sharks as much because I can just not go in the ocean.
We can just not go in the ocean.
I can also just not live in Louisiana,
Florida,
Alabama, Florida, Georgia,
areas,
like any of those places.
North of those, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia, New Orleans, I don't think you find them in Texas. I don't recall them.
I do hear they have some like east side of Texas, like close to the Louisiana border.
Could be down there by Houston and that way.
And I've also heard of them like having, because I mean they have an alligator farm here in Colorado.
Yeah, but you have to actually physically go to the farm to get attacked.
What I'm saying is they can exist here. They can still live
here.
They can
live anywhere.
They're pretty well. They need a water source that doesn't freeze, right? So once you get above a certain point, they can't really survive.
But like at a zoo or a farm, they're going to take care of that.
By the way, do you know what state has the least amount of animal attacks in the U.S.?
What state has now what do we classify as an animal attack? Bees?
Any sort of animal attack. I said animal, not insect.
Yeah. Insects are not animals?
Insects are not animals.
I don't buy that.
They're insects. They're in their own category.
They're all animals. They're in the animal kingdom. Okay, so let's see. Which state has the least amount of animal attacks?
Yeah. Which one do you think it would be?
Oh, shiza. Kansas.
And this is a per capita rating.
Kansas.
So no, that is incorrect. I'll give you one more guess.
What happens in Kansas? What animals are in Kansas?
I don't know.
Snakes? Maybe.
Snacks? I don't know.
Am I close in the area?
No.
It's not that area?
It's not that area.
Oh, good lord. Least amount of animal attacks per capita. So it's got
Per
it's a place with a
capita.
lot of people. Connecticut.
Or it's a place with a few people.
I don't know what you got. What do you got?
It's Rhode Island.
That was close. Connecticut was close.
Rhode Island has the fewest amount of animal attacks per person, followed by Vermont and then Connecticut
Right.
and all those states up there. That's where I want to live, where there's not crazy animals all the time.
But the further north you get in those states, you get bears. You will get bears.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
you get close to Canada, it all changes pace.
And then it's just wild moose attacks
but again,
once you get to Canada.
what is your defense
No.
for a gator? Like with a bear, they sell bear spray.
Right.
Right, you put that mist out there, it hates it, it runs away. Like even the
No.
biggest bears run away sometimes. But what's your defense for an alligator?
I don't know.
Punch it. You punch. Well, they say you punch it in the eyes and snout. That's what you attack.
Right.
Right.
Like a shark.
But this is assuming you ever saw it coming.
Yeah, you're gonna have to know that it's happening.
And two, that it hasn't already got a hold of you.
All right.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you didn't see it coming.
I had no idea that that's where we were going.
Trivia question.
The trivia question, the Stone trivia question, which was, by the way, what is the record for attendance at an NCAA football game? And the answer is the Battle at Bristol, which was September 10th, 2016. It's 156,990 people. Some of them had really crappy tickets.
Yeah. What are you even watching?
Right. The Jumbotron, that's what they were watching. That they had to suspend over the stadium because it doesn't come with one. It's Bristol Motor Speedway in Bristol, Tennessee / Virginia. It's like on the border. Bristol's right on the border, which is why Virginia Tech and Tennessee were playing. And by the way, Tennessee won that game 45-24.
Yeah, they worked them.
Yeah. So there was that. Although I did like the Virginia Tech uniforms at the game. The gray and the black were pretty cool.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that's a lot of people. I was sitting here trying to find when they talk about the largest ever attendance at a sporting event in general, like in the world.
Yeah,
they're talking about a World Cup game in Brazil, and they say that there was 190 something thousand people at this game, right? Yeah. And so I'm looking at it and I go, okay, so how many does the stadium hold? The official stadium capacity is listed as like 78,000. How did they get 190,000 people into this 78,000 seat stadium?
Loads of standing room.
I guess. I'm like, that's almost 3 times as many people. Where did you put them?
Well, the Indianapolis Indy 500.
Uh-oh.
That's 350,000 people.
So yeah, but that's spread out over
it's designed
to
oval. Handle. Yeah.
And when they talk about attendance for those events, I'm not sure they're talking about single day attendance.
Sure.
They're talking about qualifying and the race.
I don't know.
Yeah. So I was looking for a single day, all people in one place at one time.
Well, I know that when F1 does their things, they'll talk about, there's 250,000 people here today. They'll say that
there
all
are.
the time.
There are.
Those are big events.
It was that way in Austin. That was a lot.
So the question for you then is, what is the largest college football game that was actually at a college football stadium?
Probably got to be about 102 or 103.
The answer is 115,000.
Ooh.
It was 2013. Any guesses who? Or where?
Who holds?
There's only a handful of stadiums in college football that can hold that many people. Who holds
that? What year was it?
2013. September 6, 2013.
I don't think the Rose Bowl holds that many. I was going to say the Rose Bowl, but Michigan.
Ooh, that's one of the teams. It's at Michigan.
Michigan, Ohio State.
Not Ohio State. September 6th, early season.
Oh, early season.
Who would they be?
Non-conference. They were playing non-conference game then, probably, right?
Yeah, a non-conference massive rival.
Michigan would have been playing crap.
There's 3 teams Michigan's big rivals with: Michigan State, Ohio State, and
now I don't know.
No, it's just classically. It's a classic Midwest team.
Notre Dame.
That's one of the classes. Yeah, Michigan, Notre Dame, September 6, 2013 at 115,109.
That wouldn't surprise me. Okay.
That stadium's huge.
It is. There's like 4 or 5 of them that are over $100,000, and yeah. Michigan's big. Ohio State's big. The Coliseum, where USC plays, is big. But anyway, yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So I think we're done.
I think we did it.
And so again, you know what? I gotta get to my out music. Where's my out music? Again, we're on YouTube every week. We're on Twitter. We're not on Twitter anymore. We get rid of it because X.
We're no longer on X.
We're no longer on
Twitter,
X.
But
we're on Facebook under the Best Lamb Sports Show. We're on, you can email us lambsports@gmail.com, and you can send us, or you can go to the website lambsports.com. Man, I'm getting confused. I was trying to hurry up because it's like a 39-second outro, and I'm gonna miss it. Which I've already done. I've already messed it up.
But you just replay it.
Yeah, so we just start again. Except it didn't. There it goes. Who we want to thank again, email us lambsports@gmail.com. Go to the website lambsports.com. You can find the past shows also. I want to thank ESPN, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, ABC Sports, CBS Sports, the NBA, the NFL, NCAA, PGA, Formula One, and of course our sponsors, The Range in Yakima, Boss Kitty Yarns, and Stone White Estates in Hood River. This has been a Brain Rock production, a division of Lonely Tree Media LLC. I want to thank everybody for listening. We'll be back next week with another interesting topic. I don't know what it is yet, but we'll put it on Facebook. So anyway, thanks all for listening. We'll see you next week.